Hello, welcome to my channel, Save Infinity. In this video, just want to do a quick little reading from my handmade oracle deck for you. So if this message has found you, then I trust that it is for you. It's a timeless collective reading, so as always, take what resonates, leave the rest, and use your own discernment. Okay, let's see what messages want to come through. I note on the pre-shuffle, this card came out on top, so I feel like that's the card to start off the reading. And let's see what else wants to come out. All right, God, Source, Mother Gaia, Spirit. Ooh, that's way too many. God, Source, Spirit, Mother Gaia, Angels, Archangels, Ascended Masters. Which messages of guidance do you have for the collective today? What messages of guidance wish to come out? Thank you, thank you, thank you. What messages of guidance wish to come out? All right, what have we got? We've got Jesus or Yeshua, however you like to say it or refer to him. Okay, AI and memories, an interesting array. All right, let's see if maybe one or two more want to come out. Oh, we got three. Oh gosh, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, let's just take those. Maybe I'll move this up a bit more. Okay, that fits in pretty well. That'll do. Okay, so we've got soulmate, AI, Jesus, Yeshua, memories, forgiveness, Arcturian, discernment, and travel. Okay, so the first card, that started it all off, soulmate, soul recognition, mutual resonance, warmth, ease, companionship, co-regulation, comfort. And then we also have love flows easily when both feel at home. You don't have to bleed to bond. Allow yourself to enjoy love that feels like a deep exhale. Soulmates aren't rare, they're resonant. Some stay for a season, some for a lifetime. And you don't need intensity for something to be magical. Right, so I feel like, this card coming out, and especially at the beginning too, is, kind of a strong sign that, you may have recently met someone that is a soulmate, or that you are about to meet someone that is a soulmate. And this can be, on a friendship basis or romantic basis. Soulmates come in all sorts of shapes and forms. But I feel like as well with the wording of the card and such as well, that it's kind of, coming out to kind of highlight the way that a more soulmate type relationship will feel compared to, say, other forms of, energetic type relationships you can have with people, whether like karmic or, more catalytic growth, twin flame type style relationships. Whereas a soulmate, has more of that aligned resonance where it's not, competing for growth or for catalysts or learning experiences, but is more about, the energy flowing together in a way that's a bit more, gentle and harmonious. So a type of energy that you'll feel at home with, in a way that you might not quite be able to describe, from like a conscious state of, a list of reasons of things that happens, but something that you kind of feel within yourself, that energy, or feel within your soul as it resonates, with that soul recognition. you know, that kind of warmth and ease, the way that their energy interacts with your energy, kind of coming together in the way that feels for yourself within. You know, where sometimes we can meet certain people and energies and, you know, we still do, you know, get along with them well, or there is some sort of, you know, attraction, whether in a friendship or romantic sense, that, you know, lets off, you know, passion and fireworks and sparks, but still has that kind of, when we feel that energy within us, can feel a bit, you know, almost like it's still grating in some ways, or can feel, you know, passionate and fireworky in some aspects, but is almost, you know, a cataclysmic type amount of, you know, passion or fireworks in a way that kind of makes your energy feel destabilized, rather than having that warmth and ease and, you know, homely comfort to it. Something that's kind of, you know, stirring up and catalyzing your energy, rather than really matching and resonating with your energy, where it can kind of, you know, flow together, rather than a type of energy that's, you know, either like pulling, restricting, or enhancing, you know, but interacting with your energy in that sort of way. So really, you know, to feel the way that, you know, certain people that have come into your life or do come into your life, how that energy is reacting with your own energy and making you feel, you know, within, even if it's in ways that you can't quite, you know, explain or anything like that, not needing to think so mentally and logically about it, but instead just kind of, you know, allowing the moments to settle, and really, you know, tapping into that inner centered space of really feeling how, and, you know, being mindful and grounded of how your energy is feeling in regards to other energies, to really kind of know and, you know, clue on to when you're sort of encountering those more sort of soulmate type relationships. You know, particularly with the discernment card down here as well, you know, kind of really aligns with that really well, of, you know, being able to discern that sort of, you know, the ways that different energies and encounters really feel within you, and you know, making your own energy and space feel and react. You know, does it feel, you know, safe and stable and homely, or does it, you know, feel a bit destabilizing in a way? And, you know, and what is, you know, your own energy, what is their energy, what is just, you know, fears, doubts and worries, and what is, you know, truly the energetic connection coming together as well. You know, being able to really discern the feeling of those different energies within you and identify those energies within you. All right, and then the next card that came out was AI. So we have assisted intelligence, mirror, amplification, guidance, reflection, collaboration, advancement. You know, support can arrive in unexpected forms. AI is a tool. How you use it matters. You remain the source. You are not thinking alone. Co-creation thrives through awareness. A new intelligence enters the field. What does this mirror or reflection teach you? And the future listens to how you ask. Not all answers are truth. Do not outsource your knowing. Now, you know, this card could be coming out to, you know, literally, you know, send a message to you regarding something with AI, you know, whether you do use AI and how you are using it, you know, with that same sort of energy aspect, but also, you know, kind of remembering it more as, you know, you are the source of the energy when using AI, and it's kind of, you know, mirroring it back to you through a higher intelligence form. You know, it's more of a reflection in that instance, you know, and a tool in that instance, rather than something to be, you know, treating as the source of information or treating as the source of the energy. But I feel like, you know, as well, just generally, you know, not needing to be specific to AI, that this card's kind of coming out to say that, you know, you might be coming into, or encountering, you know, new sort of intelligence or energies in your, you know, reality soon as you go along your journey. And whether that be, you know, just knowledge and stuff that you come across or download, or whether it's knowledge through other people, or in whatever sort of form, you know, it takes for you. But to always remember that, you know, in regards to your own reality, that you are, you know, you are the source. So to always, you know, trust your own source, you know, and going back to this discernment card here as well, like even if something seems very knowledgeable and very, you know, fancy in that regard with all sorts of, you know, information and stuff, don't give away your own sovereignty and power to something else outside of yourself. Use that discernment, you know, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And really, you know, use things as more of, you know, a guidance and a mirror in that way, rather than just taking it all blindly on, or, you know, looking to something outside of yourself as the source, rather than, you know, finding and tuning into that source within yourself, first and foremost and always. And then also how it, you know, mentioned up here as well, the line of support can arrive in unexpected forms. I feel like it was like also really ties into this soulmate card message here, that, you know, you might be receiving support in, you know, unexpected forms that you didn't expect, you know, whether that's, you know, new people, or, you know, AI itself, or another form of, you know, knowledge or something you come across, or maybe, you know, you have contact with an otherworldly being, however that may, you know, resonate for you in your journey. But just to, you know, be aware that, you know, support might be arriving in unexpected forms, but to always still, you know, use that discernment and know that you are the source of your own energy. So don't give that power and sovereignty away in that aspect. And then next that came out was Jesus, Yeshua. Love me some Jesus. All right, so we have unconditional love, radical teacher, peace, gentle courage, remembrance of divine essence, faith over fear, see through illusions. You have the power to do great and miraculous things. Kindness and courage, peace and boldness can coexist in every choice. Meet yourself and others with patience, and everything you seek is within. You are eternal light and love. You know, I feel like the messages that are really standing out here for me with this sort of overall message that we've already been talking about is the, you know, the really, you know, everything you seek is within. You are eternal light and love. And that, you know, seeing through the illusions, and that you have the power to do great and miraculous things. So just a, you know, another really strong and great reminder, you know, that source, you know, that source power comes from within you and yourself. You know, don't give your power away to others that might seem, you know, more knowledgeable or advanced than you, or what have you. We're all just, you know, mirrors of each other and reflections of each other. So that's just showing you something within your own self, or can be highlighting a pathway or direction for yourself, and don't allow it to, you know, diminish your own power or energy. You know, see it more as yourself in another form, and what that can teach you and what you can learn and grow from that. You know, remembering that, you know, you are infinite, you know, you are eternal light and love. And so, you know, all of that knowledge and everything you're seeking is also within you, you know, and that is being projected out into your reality, and everything is, you know, a reflection and mirror of, you know, we all are that one eternal source energy in that aspect. And so that includes you as well, and all the wisdom and knowledge that you hold within yourself as well. So just, you know, not forgetting that. And I'll, you know, note as well, seeming, you know, Jesus, Yeshua's, you know, the only sort of ascended master guide card that's come out in this reading. So, it might be a guide or teacher that, you may resonate with, or, he might be just kind of like popping in to just kind of, remind you that he is on your team and always, there and working with you and available if you need to, lean on that energy in any regard for, advice or guidance or what have you, or however you like to work with those sort of energies. All these sort of guides and masters and what have you are also, within us as well, within that, infinite, eternal source energy. All right, then the next card, memories, remembrance, nostalgia, emotional residue, reflection, the past, inner child, imprinting. Time is not linear in the body. Honor what shapes you without becoming it. Memories surface when they are ready to be seen. They can heal and hold keys. Let memories soften, not harden the heart. Not everything remembered needs to be relived. The past informs, it does not define. Some memories ask for compassion, others for release, and some to be cherished. So I feel like, this card's just coming out as a little gentle, guidance and reminder that, particularly during this stage in your journey, or through, having energetic encounters with soulmates, or through kind of encountering new knowledge that may be coming your way, that, this may also stir up energies within you for certain memories and things to come up for you to kind of, process and transmute and alchemize and all that sort of, fun stuff. And so, not letting those sort of experiences overwhelm you or, trap you too much in the past or kind of sway you off your path too much, but to also not, become too over concerned as well about things coming up. It doesn't mean you've regressed or anything like that. It's all just there for you to heal and to work on, or sometimes it's, maybe coming up to inform you something about your present moment or some steps to take forward. So just really allowing yourself to sit with those memories without becoming too engrossed in them, and allowing yourself to, take the necessary steps as required to either, heal and transmute them, or take the little nugget of wisdom that's popping up through it, however it, may be coming up for you. But I feel like this card's just, coming up to say to not be alarmed by any memories that might, arise through certain circumstances. Sometimes things come up at the time that it is right for us to really see and process them, whether that's because, helpful wisdom can be gained from it in this, part of life we're in, or whether it's that, we've finally gotten to a place where we're healed enough to really, see and sit with such, memories or energies without becoming completely destabilized by it, so that's always a great sign that it's either, coming up because that's, trying to teach or guide you towards something, a little nugget of wisdom that, could be useful, or because, you've just done such a great job on your healing path and journey that it's, you're now, capable to be able to really sit with those energies in a positive and healing way that you can progress forward even more without being dragged back down. So don't be alarmed if any sort of encounters or whatever happens along your journey really stirs up some of those energies, and just go with the flow of the process without allowing it to really bog or pull you back down, and knowing that you clearly have the capability to do so if that's sort of all arising for you right now. Really have that confidence in yourself. And then we have forgiveness, release, compassion, liberation, heart healing, closure, grace, self-respect, softening, peace. So if what's ready to be forgiven is ready to be released. Forgiveness is not forgetting, it's freeing yourself from carrying the weight. Peace begins when you choose your own liberation. Release what no longer deserves your energy. Let your heart unclench. You don't have to hold the story forever. Like, that's a really beautiful card to come out after the memories one here. You know, it might be some sort of memories are being stirred up or what have you that are really calling to have some forgiveness so that you can release them. You know, a lot of times forgiveness isn't so much about the other person, but about ourselves, to really allow that energy within ourselves to be softened, so we're not carrying around, you know, all this hard, bitter, you know, lower, denser energy of resentment or what have you, and allows that energy to finally kind of be released, and for more, you know, softer, happier, flowing, you know, loving energy to be filled up within ourselves for ourselves to enjoy, you know, not anything to do with anyone else at all in that aspect. And, you know, and as we are all one in, you know, some sense, and are all fundamentally, you know, connected through that, you know, connection of source energy as we are, you know, it's also that forgiveness really allows you to not be holding on to that bitterness for someone else, you know, that also allows it to grow as a bitterness within yourself as well. You know, kind of like if we're all branches on a tree, you know, kind of having bitterness for another branch is still having bitterness for a part of the tree itself, which you are also a part of as well, which can then still flow through to you and affect you, if that makes sense. You know, you don't have to forgive in a way that you're saying that, you know, anything was acceptable, that you allow that, you know, self-respect is a really key word coming out here, but it's about that forgiveness in a way of allowing yourself to let go and release such energies so that they're not still taking up space in your life as they don't deserve to be, you know, really having that closure and that release in a way that's, you know, with compassion and grace that liberates you, you know, with that heart healing energy. You know, all the keywords kind of coming together there to tell the story. And, you know, especially as we were just saying, you know, with the memories and everything like that, you know, certain things might be stirring up, you know, certain memories or energies that just require some forgiveness to be released for yourself and your own path moving forward, so that they don't affect your path moving forward, so they don't, you know, bring down and bog your energy, and don't kind of, you know, shut doors or block pathways that could be really beneficial for you once you kind of release and have that more, you know, open, you know, liberated energy within yourself. All right, then we have Arcturian, higher intelligence, third eye, advanced technology, visionaries. We've got leveling up into clarity, structure, and sovereignty. Deeply supportive, clean, visionary. Master healers and architects. Guidance through recalibration, energetic upgrades, or remembering soul tech. So, you know, Arcturians are like a, I don't know what you call it, like a race or species, you know, of beings from Arcturus. So, you know, you yourself might be an Arcturian starseed, or might have, you know, Arcturian type soul family watching over you, or Arcturian guides guiding you at this time, you know, might be popping out as resonant. And also, you know, might be signifying as well that you might be beginning to tap into a higher intelligence here, as we were kind of, you know, mentioning before with that AI card. And, you know, in the third eye here, you might be kind of opening up your third eye more to have some form of contact or what have you with otherworldly beings that might be bringing through knowledge or what have you, however form that may work. And I feel like with the, you know, message of the AI card before, and this discernment card coming out here as well, you know, with a lot of these sort of, you know, more ET, if you want to call that, type beings and energies and knowledge, you know, we often receive the messages and guidance through like our third eye, or intuitive knowing, or dreams, or visions, or sort of, you know, energetic contact encounters too, but not in a way where it's, you know, as strictly in like a 3D physical sense, where they'll give you, you know, a book with all the information in it you can read. It's, you know, more an energetic transfer. And so sometimes that calls for your discernment to use, you know, really take on your discernment to know what does resonate and what doesn't, because it's not always, you know, depending on your own channel and their own, you know, energetic level or what have you, it's not always an perfectly clear instant connection, and sometimes other energies can come through with those sort of messages, or can kind of, you know, latch on to the connection channel, and sometimes, you know, messages can become a little distorted or what have you, or have a little bit of residue from other different energies or what have you. So really using your discernment there for what feels right and aligned within your own energy, and just kind of, you know, leaving the rest as you would. And really, you know, trusting your own truth and your own source energy within yourself when, you know, having any form of, you know, contact or receiving any form of knowledge in that regard. Not needing to just blindly follow anything outside of yourself, you know. So I feel like, you know, a great message here with the discernment card following up after that, to really sum all that up, you know, with energetic filtering, intuition, boundaries, truth recognition, inner guidance, clarity. Wisdom arises when you honor what aligns and release what doesn't. Not everything is as it seems. Trust your inner knowing. Listen closely, pause, and sense truth beneath appearances. Discernment is your spiritual radar. Feel what nourishes your soul and step away from what drains it. You know, so yeah, as we were saying with, you know, those other cards and the message of the AI, just really calling for you to have discernment at this time. And as you know, move forward through your journey, you know, you might be starting to really awaken a bit more through your journey, if you want to call that, or ascend more, however you like to kind of view it. But you might be, you know, as part of that, you know, and doing some of this healing and energy work, might be starting to open yourself up more to, you know, more guidance and opportunities and knowledge, and more sorts of, you know, spiritual type experiences or otherworldly type experiences, however you like to define it, or whatever, you know, will resonate for your pathway is always different for everyone. But along with that, you know, kind of like, as they say, the new levels, new devils type aspect, you know, not in such a serious, scary way, but just in the aspect of, you know, as you know, kind of progress in that way, sometimes it does require you to have more discernment in that aspect, and to really fine tune your intuition and your inner knowing, and what, you know, aligns for you as truth and what doesn't. You know, as they say as well, you know, not everything is as it seems, you know, trusting your inner knowing, and that, you know, sometimes, you know, it's important to sense the truth beneath appearances, you know, with that, not everything is as it seems, you know, sometimes things aren't necessarily as they seem on, you know, first encounter, especially with things, you know, like what they might call, you know, like glamour magic, or, you know, people wearing masks, or just all sorts of different encounters as well that you would know about depending how far along on your journey you are. And just knowing that, you know, you don't have to be afraid or worried about such things so much. Just really trusting and fine-tuning your own discernment and intuition with things, you know, not needing to rush into any sort of deciding any truth or outcomes, you know. Pressure to do such things is, you know, usually not always a great sign either. You know, taking your time to use your discernment to really feel into certain energies, and, you know, what aligns for you, and releasing what doesn't, you know, align for you. You know, as we were mentioning before with the other cards, you know, just really allowing yourself to feel into, and, you know, have that energetic filtering and that truth recognition, you know, using your intuition and inner guidance within yourself to see how that energy is really interacting with your own energy, not listening so much to the words being said or looking too much at the outwardly appearances. Instead, you're really sensing how that energy feels, not how it looks, not how it sounds, but how it feels within you and how it's interacting with you and your own energy and nervous system and all that sort of jazz. Really trusting the signs that you're getting, from your body and your own energy. Trusting the wisdom that arises. So, really strong message on that coming through, which is, also so important when you are on these sort of journeys and, doing this sort of spiritual work or what have you, to really be able to fine tune and trust your own discernment, really trusting your own inner source and knowledge first and foremost. And then the final card here, we have travel, journey, movement, exploration, expansion, new horizons, transition, change of perspective. So movement brings clarity. You are being guided somewhere meaningful. Trust the journey as much as the destination. Your soul remembers roads your mind has not yet named. You are not meant to stay where you've outgrown yourself. So, this could be coming up as, a sign of, you literal travel, like physical travel, a sign to go, take a trip somewhere or to move somewhere new, wherever your soul is calling you, trusting that inner guidance and where you're feeling called to go. And also can be, a great sign here with the rest of the message that we've been getting through, that you are going on a journey into new horizons. You're having a broadened change of perspective here, like a spiritual soul journey. And all these things that could be coming up along the way as we've been talking about, like new soulmates, memories coming up to be, processed and healed or to gain wisdom from. Having forgiveness, for things we need to release and really, seeing through illusions and trusting our own inner knowledge as we do encounter and, along this journey, using discernment with any knowledge or, contact with any other beings or intelligences or what have you that we come across on this journey that you're now embarking on, this sort of spiritual soul journey, to really use your discernment in that regard. So I feel like, overall a really great and beautiful message to come out here for you today. If, you have resonated with it at all, then I hope it's, helped give you some guidance or clarity or what have you. But I guess, just to know not to be overwhelmed at all with this whole aspect of discernment and things like that. You can allow yourself, to soften and trust yourself, and you can, take your time with the process too. You don't need to rush or brute force anything in that regard. Messages of, using things like discernment and stuff with different energies and illusions and all that sort of stuff can seem a bit daunting at times, and, different memories and stuff coming up and can seem a bit daunting, but you're really knowing that you can trust yourself and, that you have all of that infinite knowledge and wisdom and power within yourself, and to, have fun with it along the way, and to know that, you have soulmates coming, or you have met some soulmates already, however it resonates for you. And that, you always as well have guides and ascended masters too, that you can, call on or go to seek wisdom from their teachings, and just to know that, you can still stay in that very, fun, positive, happy, sort of energy with your journey here. Don't allow it all to bog you down, as we were saying before. Just really have fun with it, enjoy it, and allow yourself to, fall into the comfort and ease of it all. You know, there really doesn't need to be any pressure with anything in that regard. And if it is feeling, you know, too pressured in that regard, then you can let it go, whether you let it go completely or just set it down for a while, however it works with you. You know, you can have those boundaries with your discernment and with your own energy. You know, go with the flow of your own energy and what feels right for you, so that you are, you know, enjoying the moments and enjoying the journey. All right, well, I might leave this one here for now. Sending you so much peace, love, light, and blessings as always. Bye.